Well, good day and I love you and welcome to Friday, June 27th. Today's the first day of the rest of your life. My hair is so wild. Okay, this is a message for the campfire. I have a beautiful story for you today. One of the things, the main thing we're doing in here, the main thing we're doing in this village is recalibrating to return to our nature. Our nature as a human being in harmony with planet Earth. Our bodies are part of this planet. She is the original OG Big Mama. And we have broken from our nature as a species, individually and collectively. And it is my understanding that we are able to return to more of our nature, to reconnect to all that is, and then to be happier and healthier in harmony with that connection and conductivity. So in that, we have an innate energetic system within our biology and around our biology. We have an electromagnetic field approximately 2 meters in nature, depending on the human's conductivity. We have an energetic system within that has 119 chakras, I believe. 114 are in the body. 5 are outside of the body. I forget how many flower on their own, without consequence, as my teacher says, and how many are subject to, what I'm trying to say is some of them operate on their own, like the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. Some, you don't have to remember to breathe, you don't have to remember to tell your heart to beat, it does it on its own. So some of these chakras, which by the way, chakra is a Sanskrit word for flower. And so these little energy flowers, these little energy wheels, they flower, they energetically operate in a circular fashion, and they turn and they calibrate. And some of them work according to our emotion, and some of them work according to stimulus, and some of them just operate on their own. So some of this energetic process is taking part of its own on its own, but most of it you can learn to take part in with in a greater, more beneficial fashion by simply becoming more conscious of the fact that you have this operating system and that you're able to interact with it. So I've been doing this for quite some time, and now my operating system and I operate lovely and nicely, and I get all kinds of messages and beacons that I've learned to pay more attention to. And again, it's a process. It's just a relationship with yourself, just like a relationship with anyone else. I remember when I first began, I've told a story. This was in 2015. I remember I had walked outside and I had picked a handful of oregano, and I had people at my house. I had a handful of oregano, and I remember where I was standing in my house, and I was talking with this hand, and my dog got ready to walk up, and I was going to pet her head. And so I was talking with this hand, and I took the oregano into this hand, and I put it in this hand, and I reached out to touch my dog, and I yelled, "No!" really loud. And I stopped, and I scared myself, and I scared all the people around me, and they looked at me, and I looked at me, and I was like, I don't know. And then I yelled, "Oregano's toxic to dogs." And I was like, "What?" And they looked at me like, "What?" And I was like, and sure enough, oregano oil is toxic to dogs, and I have a handful of fresh oregano oil that I was about to just smear on her head. And so I was like, whoa, where did that come from? What is that about? That is so cool. And so I began becoming aware of the energetic system, the divine broadcasting system that streams directly to me, through me, and from me, and learning to hone my channel for better reception. So I've been doing this for quite some time. So last night it was rather late, and I had a long day, and I have myself involved in lots of things right now, lots of situations, circumstances, and lots of humanity. And so I was tired, and I needed to calm down and cleanse. And I thought about just like doing meditation in my room, and then I thought about doing a barefoot walk with my dog, and I was like, I don't know if I feel like getting in the car and driving to a place where I want to walk her at night, or if I just want to like not deal with all that. And then something inside me was like, go on the walk. Go on the walk. And I was like, all right, I'll go on the walk. Excuse me. So I got in the car with the dog. And I drove to this neighborhood that's really lit up. Mine's not. And so I walk her in the lit up neighborhood. We might have some wild creatures come out here at night. And immediately upon entering the neighborhood, I passed these two young sisters walking, and for some reason I was very aware of these two girls, and I wasn't quite sure why, but I remember paying a lot of attention to these two young girls walking, and then thinking, why are you paying so much attention? It's none of your business, right? So I park my car, and I get out, and I start to walk my dog, and these two girls cross the street, and I can hear them talking, and they walk over to where I am in the street, and they're talking, and one of them is extremely upset, and she's talking about how her mom's on drugs, and she's tired of it, and she's tired of the irresponsibility, she's tired of having to be responsible. And I can hear all of it, and I can feel her. I can really, really, really feel this girl. And I say, Heather, it's not your business, you know, go on about your business. And so my dog is checking things out everywhere around this area. And it's funny because my dog is like really into this whole area right around there, and so I'm not walking off as fast as I would, because my dog is pulling me, paying attention to all this stuff on the ground in this little area. So I'm hearing this girl more than I would. And I hear her say, I'm tired of being a parent. And it just goes boom in my gut, right? And I sit there and I'm like, you don't know these people. This is not your neighborhood. That's totally weird. It's dark outside. These two girls are sitting at a playground that I'm kind of walking around. And so I try to walk off. I start to walk off, and then my insides are really, really loud. And they're like, why are you messing up God's timing? Is basically what I'm saying to myself. And I'm saying to myself, you don't believe in coincidence. You know this is God's timing. You know this is why you're here. Walk your little ass on over. So I do. So I walk up to these two girls that I can't see their faces really, and they can't see mine because we're all in the dark. And I say, hey y'all, my name is Heather. And I don't mean to be eavesdropping, but I also don't believe things happen by coincidence. So I've thought twice about coming over here and saying something, but here I be. And that's what I said. They just kind of stood there. The one girl goes, hey. And the one girl that's really upset is quiet. And so I said, the deal is I come from a mom like yours, and then I grew up to be a mom like yours. And now I have 18 years sober. And she just started crying. She started crying, and she picked up her shirt and pulled it up over her head. And then she was just sitting there crying. And so I said, so I just wanted to tell you that first of all, it's not your fault. Second of all, there are solutions. And I'd love to give you a hug. And she was just crying. And her friend goes, see? She goes, I'm so glad you stopped. She's like, I've been trying to tell her I don't have any experience here, and I can't help her with this. And so the other girl goes, please, meaning hug her. And so I walked up to the girl, but she has her shirt up around her head like this, and she's holding herself like this. And I said, baby, can I hug you? And I said, and she's just sitting there crying, and I said, can I hug? I said, I'd love to hug you. And I said, and she's just crying, and I said, baby girl, nod your head, because I'm not going to put my hands on you until you tell me I can. And so she nods her head, and then her friend's like, she said yes. And so I wrapped my arms around her and told her it's not her fault, and that really it's not her mom's fault either. Her mom's got some nasty shit, like I had some nasty shit, and you got to get right with it, or you got the nasty shit. And I said that doesn't mean it's okay for her to act the way she's acting, and it doesn't mean that you have to be collateral damage for the drama. So basically, I told her about a program of recovery that I'm a part of that has a sister program of recovery. Oh my goodness. Forgot I don't have a sports bra on. Shit. Now I'm gonna have to edit that damn thing out. That's so lame. Anyway. I'm not doing this video again. It's so funny. I told her about a program of recovery that I'm a part of that has a sister program of recovery for people who are family members of alcoholics and addicts. And I told her that there's a lot of people going what she's going through. And I told her about my own personal experience being the daughter of an alcoholic, and how I had to learn to take care of myself and to distance myself from some people who don't take care of themselves. And that's what time it is on earth. We are learning to become more sovereign with our own energy, and to understand that it is no one else's job to balance our energy and to take care of us. It would be awesome if our parents had mastered these lessons and were able to give guidance in a more beneficial way so that we could take better care of ourselves. But I do believe that is the recalibration at hand with humanity. And so for today, I had that chat with them, and they were so grateful that I stopped and chatted with them, and they were saying thank you. And I was so grateful that I just listened. In fact, it was funny. I ended this conversation by telling this woman that it was her job to take care of herself. That in spite of the fact that she was a child of a mother who was having a hard time taking care of herself, it was her job to take care of herself. And I was sitting there thinking, as I said to her, that's a heavy ass blow from a random ass stranger. And she started laughing. And I was thinking, wow, what a beautiful day on earth when a random stranger comes up to a girl who is in crisis and wanting others to change so that she can feel better, and drops the blow of sovereign self-care, and she receives it. She receives it. When I say to her, you cannot change your mother, and you cannot change her timeline. You cannot make her accountable, and you cannot make her have the wherewithal to change her ways. It might be right and righteous, but it's not up to you. And she received it. And to watch her eyes and feel her heart receive that she's not in purgatory, but that there are permissive possibilities that flow to her should she choose to embrace them, was heaven. It was so beautiful. Because I always, let's wizard my words, in my past, I've been concerned that others don't want to hear all that, and then they're not ready to take care of themselves. And that is the case with a great many. But there's a whole lot of us who are ready for better. We're ready for better, and we are willing to take the initiative to do so, and to have so, and to be so. And that's beautiful. It's a beautiful day to be on earth, sovereign and free, happy and healthy, and pursuing, actively, consciously choosing harmony. Ha! Gorgeous. Gorgeous, as were these two young girls. She was 2 years younger than my daughter. Than my daughters. And that's what I was telling her. And I was telling her about my son, who's never known me that way. And I was also telling her that she can break the cycle. And that she might not want it to be her job, but that she can choose it be her job to lay it down. And if she should so choose, she will be gifted the opportunity to transmute the family illness. And that, my friends, is a good day on earth. Amen. So I will pull you a card, and The moral in the shakeout is you are also connected to a divine operating system that connects straight to the source. It facilitates a happy, healthy, harmonious interaction and interface with all that is, should you choose to connect to it, to calibrate to it, and then to conduct in it accordingly. Beautiful. Card for today. Looks like we have two. I'm unapologetic about what I desire and trust that what I focus on will grow. That is the truth. So should you choose to lean in today to your divine calibrating system, your strength and conductivity and communication with all that is will grow. And then you'll have more heaven in your vessel. I love it. Thanks for being here, y'all. I love you.